Hello, and welcome back to Bite-Sized Military History. Today, we're returning to the Greco-Persian Wars, to a narrow pass in Greece where a handful of warriors faced an army vast enough to drink the rivers dry. This is the story of the famous Battle of Thermopylae. The story of the confrontation begins in an age of empires and city-states. The Greco-Persian Wars were more than just battles. They were a struggle between the expanding Persian Empire and the fiercely independent Greek city-states. The Persian king, Xerxes I, son of Darius the Great, who you'll remember from Ephesus, Lade, and Marathon, sought to complete his father's unfinished business subjugating Greece. His motives were complex, part revenge for the Persian defeat at Marathon a decade earlier, part imperial ambition, and part a desire to secure his legacy. Imagine the Persian Empire at its zenith, stretching from India to the Aegean Sea. Xerxes' army, possibly numbering between 200,000 and 300,000 men, was an assemblage of that empire's vast resources. They were soldiers from across the empire, including renowned units like the Immortals, the elite of the Persian army. Meanwhile, the Greek city-states, though often at odds with one another, acknowledged the existential threat posed by Persia. Led by Sparta and Athens, they formed a rare and brief alliance. And the Spartans, known for their military discipline and prowess, were its core, at least on land. The Greeks knew they couldn't face the Persians in open battle. They chose to make their stand at Thermopylae, where they expected the Persians to land their ships, a narrow coastal pass that offered a natural choke point that would channel the vast Persian forces. Here, the Greeks, under the leadership of King Leonidas of Sparta, could mitigate the Persian advantage in numbers. The pass was so narrow that only a few soldiers could fight abreast, negating the Persians' ability to envelop them. Leonidas' forces numbered approximately 7,000, including his own guard of 300 Spartans, renowned for their bravery and skill in battle. Contingents of other Greek city-states joined that force. The Greeks used the phalanx formation, a tight, interlocking shield wall of heavily armored hoplites bristling with spears and short swords, ideal for the narrow confines of Thermopylae. Key individuals on both sides played important roles in the battle. More than just one of Sparta's two kings, King Leonidas embodied Spartan values: discipline, honor, and sacrifice. On the Persian side, Xerxes was an ambitious ruler driven by a desire for glory and revenge. In terms of tactics, the Greeks excelled in using terrain and their disciplined fighting formations. The narrow pass amplified their defensive capabilities. The Persians, in contrast, attempted multiple frontal assaults but were repeatedly repelled. They also tried to use their archers to weaken the Greek forces, but heavy Greek armor and shields diminished their effectiveness. A critical moment came when a Greek traitor, Ephialtes, seeking a reward, informed Xerxes of a mountain path that bypassed the Greek position. The Persians used this path to outflank the Greeks. After days of fighting and faced with encirclement, Leonidas made a decision. He dismissed most of the Greek forces, staying with the survivors of his 300 Spartans and a few others to cover their retreat and delay the Persians for as long as possible. The aftermath of the battle was both tragic and heroic. Leonidas and his Spartans fought to the last man, becoming symbols of bravery and sacrifice. Although a tactical defeat for the Greeks, Thermopylae had strategic significance. It delayed the Persians, allowing the Greek fleet to prepare for future engagements, notably the naval battle at Salamis, which would become a turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars. The legacy of Thermopylae is profound. It symbolized the resistance of overwhelming odds, influencing military strategy to this day. The battle illustrated the importance of terrain, morale, and leadership in war. It also emphasized the effectiveness of well-trained and disciplined troops, even when vastly outnumbered. The Battle of Thermopylae, not just a historical event, it's a story of overwhelming bravery and sacrifice. It shaped the development of Western civilization and has become a timeless narrative of heroism, strategy, and courage. Join me next week when we examine the naval battle of Artemisium, which coincided with the Battle of Thermopylae.